The Arrival and the Unseen Wonders. The sky above Earth was dark, filled with millions of shining stars. A small spaceship, damaged and burning, fell from the sky like a shooting star. Inside the ship, Lyra, a young alien girl with silver-blue skin and glowing eyes, struggled to control the controls. Her heart pounded. She had escaped a deadly battle in space, but now she was crashing into an unknown planet. Suddenly, the ship hit the atmosphere, shaking violently. The heat burned the edges, and Lyra knew she had no control anymore. She braced herself as the ship dived straight into a massive body of water. With a loud crash, the ship hit the ocean, sinking deep into the blue abyss. Water rushed inside, filling the cockpit. Lyra gasped, feeling the icy water wrap around her body. She unfastened her seatbelt and tried to swim, but the pressure pushed her down. Panic set in. She couldn't breathe. Her vision blurred. The surface seemed so far away. As her strength faded, she suddenly saw something moving toward her. A figure, human in shape, but moving through the water like a creature of the sea. Lyra's eyes widened. The human wasn't just swimming. He was breathing underwater. The mystery of the ocean. The human had dark hair that floated around his face. His eyes glowed faintly in the deep blue water. He reached out a hand, motioning for her to follow. Lyra hesitated. Who was he? How was he breathing underwater? Her lungs burned. She had no choice. She reached for his hand. The moment their hands touched, a strange energy passed between them. The human's grip was strong but gentle. He pulled her up, guiding her through the water with ease. As they swam upward, Lyra saw glowing lights in the distance. They weren't just fish. They were buildings, an entire city hidden beneath the waves. The structures were made of a strange material that reflected the ocean's colors. Strange creatures swam around them peacefully. Lyra had seen many planets, but never anything like this. The underwater city. As they approached the city, a large transparent dome appeared, covering the buildings. The human led Lyra through an entrance. The moment they passed inside, the water drained from around them, and Lyra collapsed, gasping for air. She coughed, struggling to regain her breath. The human kneeled beside her, watching with curiosity. "You are not from here," he said in a calm voice. Lyra looked up, shocked that she could understand him. "Where am I?" she managed to ask. "You are in Ocean 9, he said, "one of Earth's underwater colonies." Earth? She had read about this planet, but never thought she would end up here. She sat up, still weak. "You were breathing underwater," she said, her voice filled with disbelief. "Humans can't do that." The human gave a small smile. "Not all humans," he said, "but we have adapted." Lyra's mind raced. Adapted? How? No species could evolve so fast. Something was not right. She looked around. The city was alive with humans walking freely inside the dome. Others swam outside in the water as if it was normal for them. Large mechanical structures floated, producing energy. Schools of glowing fish swam alongside the city's lights. "Who are you?" she asked, turning back to the human. "My name is Ethan," he said. "And you? What are you doing here?" Lyra hesitated. She couldn't trust him yet. "My name is Lyra. My ship crashed." Ethan nodded, as if he already knew. "I saw it. You were lucky I found you." She frowned. "Why did you help me?" Ethan tilted his head. "Because you were drowning," he said simply. Lyra looked into his eyes. There was no lie, no deception. He had saved her for no other reason than because she needed help. This was strange. She had heard stories about humans, that they were unpredictable, dangerous, and selfish. But this one was different. Before she could ask more questions, a loud alarm rang through the city. Ethan's expression turned serious. "We need to go," he said. "Why? What's happening?" He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled her up and guided her through the streets of the underwater city. Lyra noticed how the other humans looked at her with curiosity but not fear. It was as if they had seen aliens before. The alarm continued, and Lyra's heart pounded. "What's going on?" she asked again. Ethan finally spoke. "Something followed you here," he said. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. Something had followed her. Then the ground beneath them trembled. The water outside the dome turned dark. A massive shadow loomed over the city, blocking out the ocean's light. And then something huge struck the dome. The city shook violently. Cracks appeared in the glass. People screamed. Lyra looked up, her blood turning cold. Outside the dome, in the deep dark ocean, glowing red eyes stared back at her. Something had found her, and it wasn't friendly. A fragile trust and hidden secrets. Lyra's heart pounded as the city shook violently. The red eyes outside the dome glowed with a menacing light, sending chills down her spine. The massive shadow shifted, circling the city like a predator hunting its prey. Ethan grabbed Lyra's arm firmly. "We need to move. Now." "But what is that?" Lyra asked, her voice trembling. Ethan didn't answer. He pulled her through narrow streets filled with humans running in every direction. The alarm continued to blare, echoing through the city. Lyra's mind raced. She had escaped a war zone only to bring danger to this peaceful city. They reached a large building made of sleek metallic material, its surface shimmering under the city's artificial lights. Ethan placed his hand on a glowing panel, and the doors slid open. Inside, it was quiet, almost too quiet compared to the chaos outside. "Where are we?" Lyra asked, looking around. The room was filled with strange machines and holographic screens displaying maps of the ocean floor. "The control center," Ethan replied. He pressed a button, and the walls around them transformed into transparent screens showing the city and the ocean beyond. Lyra stared at the creature outside. It was massive, with long, twisting tentacles covered in sharp, glowing spikes. Its red eyes scanned the city as if searching for something or someone. "Is it looking for me?" Lyra whispered. Ethan nodded grimly. "It's not a creature. It's a machine. A biomechanical weapon." Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "A weapon? From where?" Ethan hesitated. His blue eyes darkened with something that looked like regret. "From your people." Lyra's mind froze. "No, that can't be true." Ethan looked at her, his face unreadable. "We've known about your species for a long time. We didn't know when you would come, but we knew it would happen someday." Lyra shook her head, confusion clouding her mind. "I wasn't sent here. I crashed. I'm not your enemy." Ethan stared at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "I believe you, but that thing outside doesn't care." Lyra felt a lump in her throat. She had left her home planet to escape the violence and war. She never wanted to bring harm to anyone, especially not these humans who had shown her kindness. Ethan turned back to the screens. "We need to protect the city. But first, you need to understand something." He walked over to a console and pressed a few buttons. A hologram appeared, showing the history of Earth's oceans. Lyra watched as the images shifted from peaceful marine life to scenes of destruction. She saw humans struggling to survive as the oceans rose, swallowing their cities and homes. "We were not always like this," Ethan said softly. "Humans couldn't breathe underwater. We couldn't survive here. But then we found something." The hologram changed, showing an ancient alien structure deep under the ocean. Strange symbols covered its surface, glowing faintly. Lyra's eyes widened. "That's an alien outpost." Ethan nodded. "We found it decades ago. It gave us technology beyond our understanding. It changed us, made us stronger, allowed us to live in the oceans." Lyra felt a pang of guilt. That outpost, it belonged to my ancestors. Ethan looked at her with a mix of curiosity and caution. Why did they leave it here? Lyra swallowed hard. They were running from something. A war that destroyed entire galaxies. They hid their technology on different planets, hoping no one would find it. Ethan's face darkened. "But we did. And now, Whoever they were running from has found us too. A loud crash shook the building, pulling them back to the present. The biomechanical creature had struck the dome again, creating deep cracks. Water started to seep in. "We don't have much time," Ethan said. He walked to another console and activated a defense system. Large metallic drones flew out from the city, firing energy blasts at the creature. Lyra watched in awe. "You've turned alien technology into weapons." Ethan gave a small, bitter smile. "We did what we had to do to survive." Lyra felt torn. She admired their resilience, but she also feared what her people would do if they discovered humans using their technology. "Why did you save me?" she asked softly. Ethan paused. "Because I know what it's like to feel lost." His words hit her harder than she expected. She saw the pain in his eyes, the weight of responsibility he carried. Suddenly, a screen beeped loudly. A new signal appeared. Lyra's blood ran cold. "They've sent more," she whispered. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "More." Lyra nodded. "If that creature is here, it means my people know I'm here too. And they won't stop until they get me back, or destroy everything in their path." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we'll fight. We've survived worse." Lyra shook her head. "You don't understand. My people, they don't lose." Ethan stepped closer to her, his voice steady and firm. "Neither do we." The city trembled again, but this time, Lyra wasn't just afraid. She was determined. "Then let's make sure they remember why," she said. Ethan gave a small smile. "Welcome to the fight, Lyra." As the biomechanical creature prepared for another attack, Lyra and Ethan stood side by side, ready to face whatever came next. The Lost Civilization's warning. The ocean trembled with an eerie silence after the creature's last attack. Lyra's hands clenched into fists as she stared at the cracks in the dome above them. Ethan, standing beside her, monitored the defense systems, his jaw tight with tension. "I can't believe my people sent that thing," Lyra whispered, guilt pressing down on her chest, like a weight she couldn't lift. Ethan glanced at her, his voice calm but firm. "This isn't your fault, Lyra." "Isn't it?" She shot back, her silver blue eyes filled with regret. "If I hadn't crashed here, your city wouldn't be in danger." Ethan shook his head. "We were always in danger. Your arrival just revealed the truth sooner." The room fell into a brief silence, interrupted only by the soft hum of machines. Then a low beep echoed from one of the consoles. Ethan frowned and approached the screen. "What is it?" Lyra asked, stepping closer. "There's something else," Ethan muttered. "A signal, deep beneath the ocean floor." Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "A signal." Ethan nodded. "It's faint, but it's ancient. It's coming from the same coordinates where we found the alien outpost years ago." Lyra's heart raced. She knew what that meant. "It's a warning." Ethan looked at her, confused. "A warning?" Lyra swallowed hard. "My people, my ancestors, they didn't just leave their technology behind. They left warnings. If someone tried to use their technology without understanding it, the signal would activate." Ethan's eyes widened. "You mean they knew we would find it?" "Not you specifically," Lyra replied, her voice low. "But they knew someone would. And now, the signal has been triggered." Suddenly, the screen flickered. An ancient holographic figure appeared, its form glitching and shimmering. It was an alien, tall and slender, with glowing eyes and intricate patterns on its skin. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "Ancestors," she whispered. The hologram spoke in a language Ethan couldn't understand, but Lyra's eyes widened with each word. "What is it saying?" Ethan asked urgently. Lyra translated, her voice trembling. "To those who awaken this technology, beware. You have opened a path that cannot be closed. A great enemy follows the trail of our technology. They are relentless. If you have found this, they are already coming." Ethan's fists tightened. "The enemy, your people, Lyra shook her head. No, something worse. Something ancient. Before Ethan could ask more, the hologram continued, its tone urgent. Your only hope lies in the heart of the ocean. Find it before they do, or all will be lost. The hologram vanished, leaving behind an eerie silence. Ethan turned to Lyra. The heart of the ocean. What is that? Lyra's mind raced. It's a myth, or at least I thought it was. A powerful artifact created by my ancestors. It controls the balance of life in the ocean. If it falls into the wrong hands, they could destroy everything, Ethan finished grimly. A loud crash outside brought them back to the present. The biomechanical creature struck the dome again. And this time, a piece shattered, allowing water to rush in. Ethan grabbed Lyra's hand. We need to get to the lower levels. Now. They ran through the narrow corridors as alarms blared and people screamed. Lyra's heart pounded as she followed Ethan into an elevator that descended deep beneath the city. As the doors opened, Lyra gasped. Before her stood a massive chamber filled with alien technology. Glowing symbols covered the walls, and in the center stood a large artifact, pulsing with blue light. What is this place? She whispered. Ethan hesitated before answering. The core of our city. This is where we harnessed the alien technology. Lyra stepped forward, her fingers brushing against the symbols. This is part of the heart of the ocean, she whispered in awe. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Wait, this is just a part. Lyra nodded. Yes, the heart is divided into 3 pieces. My ancestors separated them to keep it safe, but if someone unites them, they'd have unimaginable power. Ethan finished, his voice tense. Suddenly, Lyra froze. If my people know this is here, they'll come for it. Ethan's eyes darkened. Then we need to find the other pieces before they do. Lyra looked at him, determination burning in her eyes. But first, we need to stop that creature. Ethan smirked. Agreed. Together, they activated the city's ancient defenses, sending powerful energy blasts at the biomechanical monster. But Lyra knew this was only the beginning. The real enemy was still out there, and time was running out. As the creature let out a deafening roar and retreated into the dark ocean, Lyra whispered under her breath, We're not ready. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We will be. But deep down, both of them knew the hardest battles were yet to come. Betrayal from within. The biomechanical creature had retreated into the ocean's darkness, but Lyra knew it was only temporary. The eerie silence that followed was not peace. It was the calm before another storm. Ethan stood beside her, his expression hardened. His mind was already racing with plans, but Lyra's thoughts were elsewhere. The warning from her ancestors echoed in her head. A great enemy follows the trail of our technology. As they left the core chamber, Lyra's fingers traced the alien symbols on the walls. The glow felt familiar, comforting, yet filled with sorrow. She was part of this history, yet she had never felt more distant from her people. Ethan glanced at her. You okay? Lyra nodded, though her heart was heavy. We need to find the other pieces of the heart before my people, or whoever is coming, finds them first. Ethan sighed. Easier said than done. We don't even know where to start. As they walked through the narrow hallways of the underwater city, Ethan's communication device beeped. He frowned and answered, Ethan here. Commander Ethan, a voice crackled through. It's Dr. Voss. We need to talk. Lyra noticed Ethan's jaw tighten. Voss. Now's not the time. It's urgent, Voss replied, his tone serious. Meet me in the observation deck. Ethan hesitated, then nodded. Fine. On my way. Lyra followed him silently, sensing the tension. Who's Dr. Voss? She asked softly. Ethan's voice was curt. My mentor. The one who taught me everything about surviving down here. And you don't trust him, Lyra noted. Ethan sighed. I used to. They arrived at the observation deck, a large room with a panoramic view of the vast ocean outside. Dr. Voss, An older man with sharp eyes and a thin frame stood waiting. His expression was unreadable, but something about him made Lyra uneasy. "Ethan," Voss greeted with a nod, his eyes flickering to Lyra. "And our visitor." "Cut to the chase," Ethan snapped. "What's so urgent?" Voss clasped his hands behind his back. "I know what you're planning." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "And what exactly do you think I'm planning?" "Finding the other pieces of the heart of the ocean," Voss replied smoothly. "And I'm here to tell you, don't." Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "Why?" Voss turned to her, his gaze piercing. "Because the moment you start searching, you'll alert them." Ethan clenched his fists. "We're already on their radar." Voss shook his head. "Not fully. Not yet. But if you start looking for the heart, you'll lead them straight to it." Lyra stepped forward. "We don't have a choice. If they find it first, then maybe that's what needs to happen," Voss interrupted sharply. Ethan's eyes widened in shock. "What?" Voss's voice turned cold. "We can't win this, Ethan. If we give them what they want, maybe they'll spare us." Lyra's blood ran cold. "You want to hand over the heart? You'd risk destroying this planet." Voss looked at her with a calculating expression. "If it means survival, then yes." Ethan's voice was a low growl. "You've lost your mind." "I found clarity," Voss shot back. "We're outnumbered, outmatched. But if we cooperate, if we give them the alien girl—" "Don't finish that sentence," Ethan warned, stepping protectively in front of Lyra. Voss's eyes gleamed with something dangerous. "I already have." Before Lyra could react, a group of armed guards entered the room, surrounding them. Ethan glared at Voss. "You sold us out." Voss smiled faintly. "I made a choice, one you'll thank me for." Lyra's mind raced. She couldn't believe it. A human, someone Ethan trusted, had betrayed them. But why did it hurt so much? She barely knew these people, yet their betrayal felt personal. "Take them to the holding cells," Voss ordered. The guards moved in, but Ethan wasn't going down without a fight. He grabbed one guard's weapon, knocking him out, and fired at the others. Lyra used her agility to dodge the attacks, disabling two guards with quick precision. "Come on," Ethan shouted, grabbing Lyra's hand as they escaped through a side door. They ran through the city's twisting corridors, alarms blaring behind them. Lyra's heart pounded. "What now?" Ethan's voice was steady despite the chaos. "We find the heart, and we stop Voss before he does something stupid." "But how?" Lyra asked. "He'll have every guard in the city looking for us." Ethan smirked. "We won't be in the city." Before Lyra could ask, Ethan pressed a hidden panel on the wall, revealing a small submarine dock. "We're going for a little dive." As they boarded the sleek, advanced submarine, Lyra felt a mix of fear and determination. Voss's betrayal had shaken her, but Ethan's resolve gave her hope. As the submarine sped into the dark ocean, Lyra whispered, "I won't let my people destroy this world." Ethan's voice was soft but firm. "And I won't let my people lose it." The ocean around them grew darker and colder, but together, they would face whatever was coming. Race against time. The submarine sliced through the ocean's darkness like a silent predator. Inside, Lyra sat beside Ethan, her mind restless. The betrayal by Dr. Voss haunted her. She had seen betrayal in war, but this felt different. Personal. Ethan's hands gripped the controls tightly, his eyes focused on the endless blue ahead. The silence between them was heavy, filled with unspoken fears and questions. Finally, Lyra broke it. "You trusted him, didn't you?" Ethan's jaw clenched. Voss was more than a mentor. He was like family. Lyra nodded softly. "And now he's our enemy." Ethan sighed. "Maybe he always was. I just didn't see it." The ocean outside grew darker, the light from the city far behind them. Lyra's glowing eyes scanned the surroundings, her alien senses alert. "Where are we going?" she asked. Ethan pressed a few buttons, bringing up a holographic map. "There's a place, an ancient trench. We believe one piece of the heart is hidden there. Lyra's eyes widened. The abyssal trench. That's dangerous, even for my people. Ethan smirked. Dangerous is what humans do best. Suddenly, a loud beep echoed through the cavern. Ethan's eyes narrowed. We've got company. On the screen, several small vessels appeared, closing in fast. Voss, Ethan muttered. Lyra's heart raced. He's not wasting time. Ethan's fingers flew over the controls. Neither are we. The submarine shot forward, weaving through underwater cliffs and coral formations, but the enemy vessels were fast, firing energy blasts that lit up the ocean around them. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter. Let me help. Ethan nodded. Weapons panel, on your right. Lyra's hands moved quickly, activating the submarine's defense systems. She fired back, hitting one vessel, and sending it spiraling into a rocky outcrop. But there were too many. Ethan, Lyra warned, we can't outrun them forever. Ethan gritted his teeth. We don't have to, just long enough. Suddenly, the submarine dove straight down, heading into a narrow crevice. The enemy vessels hesitated, unsure of following into such a tight space. Inside, Lyra gasped. You're crazy. Ethan chuckled. That's what everyone says. The crevice was barely wide enough for their submarine, but Ethan navigated it with precision. The enemy vessels tried to follow but struggled. One crashed against the rock walls, exploding in a burst of light. Finally, the remaining vessels gave up, retreating back into the open ocean. Ethan exhaled deeply. That bought us time. Lyra nodded, her heart still racing, but not much. The submarine continued deeper until they reached a vast, open trench. It was darker than anything Lyra had ever seen, the pressure intense. This is it, Ethan whispered. They docked the submarine near a rocky ledge. Ethan grabbed an underwater breathing device, while Lyra, being an alien, needed no such equipment. As they stepped into the cold water, Lyra felt an ancient energy calling to her. Do you feel that? She asked. Ethan nodded. Yeah. It's overwhelming. They swam deeper into the trench, their path illuminated by bioluminescent creatures. Lyra's heart pounded as they approached a strange structure carved into the ocean floor. It's here, she whispered. Inside the structure, they found a glowing orb pulsating with energy. Lyra recognized it instantly. The second piece of the heart, she breathed. Ethan reached out, but Lyra stopped him. Wait. It's protected. Suddenly, the ground shook. The structure trembled, and from the shadows emerged another biomechanical creature, larger than the last. Its glowing red eyes locked onto them. Of course, Ethan muttered. It's never easy. Lyra activated a defensive shield from her suit. We have to fight. The creature lunged at them, its tentacles slicing through the water. Ethan fired his weapon, but the creature was fast. Lyra used her alien agility to dodge, striking back with energy blasts from her hands. But the creature was relentless. It cornered Ethan, its sharp appendage inches from his face. Ethan. Lyra screamed. In that moment, something awakened within her. Her body glowed brighter, and with a burst of energy, she unleashed a powerful wave that pushed the creature back. Ethan stared in awe. What was that? Lyra didn't know, but she didn't have time to figure it out. She grabbed the glowing orb, feeling its power surge through her. The creature roared in anger, but Lyra, now holding the second piece of the heart, felt stronger. She fired a concentrated blast, hitting the creature directly. It let out a final screech before disintegrating into particles. Ethan swam to her side. Are you okay? Lyra nodded, holding up the orb. We have it, but they'll know. Ethan's face hardened. Then we need to move fast. As they returned to the submarine, Lyra felt a growing fear. The heart's power was immense, but in the wrong hands, it could mean the end of everything, and time was running out. The ultimate choice. The submarine sped through the dark ocean, the faint glow of the heart of the ocean's second piece pulsing softly in Lyra's hands. Ethan kept his eyes on the navigation screen, but his mind was restless. They had secured another piece, but at what cost? The weight of responsibility hung heavily between them. Lyra's alien senses felt the energy of the heart vibrating through her, whispering ancient secrets she could barely comprehend. "We're running out of time," she whispered. Ethan nodded grimly. "Voss won't stop. And now that we have this," he gestured to the glowing orb, "we've painted a target on our backs." Lyra's eyes shimmered. "It's not just Voss. My people will know we found another piece. They'll come for me. And for this." Ethan's voice was steady, but Lyra could feel the storm behind it. "Let them come." She admired his bravery, but fear gnawed at her. "You don't understand, Ethan. My people are not just soldiers. They are conquerors. They don't ask for what they want. They take it." Ethan's fists clenched the controls tighter. "Humans don't surrender. We never have. We never will." Lyra looked at him, her heart aching. She wanted to believe in his hope, but she knew the truth. The heart wasn't just a weapon or a tool. It was power itself, power that could shape life or end it. As the submarine approached Ocean 9, Ethan's communicator beeped. He answered with a scowl. "What now?" A familiar voice responded. "Ethan." Lyra's breath caught. She recognized that voice. It wasn't human. "Who is this?" Ethan demanded. The voice chuckled softly. "You know who I am, Ethan Steele." "And Lyra, it's been a long time." Lyra's face paled. "Commander Xyra." Ethan shot her a look. "Commander who?" Xyra's voice remained calm, almost too calm. "I lead the fleet sent to retrieve Lyra. And the heart. Hand them over, and no harm will come to your people." Ethan scoffed. "Not a chance." Xyra's tone hardened. "Don't be foolish. You can't fight us. Give us Lyra, and we'll leave your planet in peace." Lyra felt a sharp pang in her chest. "No, Ethan, they're lying. They'll take everything." Xyra's voice softened, almost like a gentle whisper. "Lyra, you know what happens if you refuse. Don't make us do this." Ethan glared at the communicator. "We're not giving up. Not now. Not ever." Xyra sighed. "So be it." The line went dead, leaving a chilling silence behind. Ethan turned to Lyra. "Who is she?" Lyra's voice cracked. "She was my mentor, my commander. She taught me everything. But she believes in the old ways. Conquer first, ask later." Ethan shook his head. "Then we stop her." Before Lyra could respond, the submarine's alarms blared. Ethan's eyes widened as dozens of alien ships appeared on the radar, surrounding the ocean city. "They're here," Lyra whispered. Ethan's mind raced. "We need to warn the city. We need to prepare." Lyra's voice was shaky but firm. "No, I need to go to them." Ethan turned sharply. "What? No, that's exactly what they want." Tears welled up in Lyra's glowing eyes. "If I don't, they'll destroy everything." Ethan's voice cracked with emotion. "We'll fight, together. Isn't that what you wanted? To protect this world?" Lyra stepped closer to him, her heart breaking. "And I will. But sometimes, protecting means sacrificing." Ethan's eyes burned with frustration and pain. "No, there's another way." Lyra placed her hand on his cheek gently. "If there was, I'd take it. But Ethan, I can't let them hurt your people. I can't let them hurt you." He grabbed her wrist, desperate. "Lyra, please." A tear rolled down her cheek as she whispered, "Thank you for showing me what it means to care." Before Ethan could stop her, Lyra activated the submarine's emergency exit, locking him inside as she swam out into the deep blue. "Lyra!" Ethan screamed, pounding on the glass. But it was too late. Lyra's body glowed brighter as she swam towards the fleet. She could feel their eyes on her, their weapons aimed, ready. She reached out with her mind, connecting to the second piece of the heart she carried. Its energy surged through her, intertwining with her own. As the alien fleet loomed closer, Lyra's voice echoed through the ocean, a whisper carried by the waves. "If you want the heart, you'll have to go through me." Commander Xyra's ship moved forward, and Lyra saw her former mentor's face on a holographic screen. "You don't have to do this, Lyra," Xyra said softly. "Come home." Lyra's eyes burned with tears and determination. "Earth is my home now." Xyra's expression hardened. "So be it." Energy beams fired from the fleet, but Lyra, powered by the heart, created a massive shield protecting the city behind her. Ethan, still in the submarine, watched helplessly, whispering, "Don't do this, Lyra." As the battle raged on, Lyra knew one thing for certain. This would be the fight that decided everything. Sacrifice and hope. The ocean churned violently as Lyra floated before the alien fleet, her body glowing with the power of the heart. Her mind was calm, but her heart ached. She could feel Ethan's pain even from afar, his silent pleas echoing through the waves. In the distance, the underwater city of Oceanine stood still, its people holding their breath, watching the lone figure stand against an armada. Commander Xyra's voice crackled through the comms. "Lyra, you can't win. Stand down before it's too late." Lyra's voice, though soft, cut through the ocean like a blade. "I'm not here to win. I'm here to protect." Xyra's eyes narrowed. "You've grown weak, Lyra. Attachment to these humans has clouded your judgment." Lyra shook her head. "No, Commander. It has made me stronger." Without warning, Xyra's ships fired. Beams of energy shot through the water, heading straight for Lyra. She closed her eyes and felt the heart's energy surge through her veins. With a wave of her hand, she created a shield, absorbing the blasts. Inside the submarine, Ethan screamed in frustration. "Let me out. I have to help her." But the submarine's locks held firm. Ethan's eyes burned with helplessness as he watched Lyra face the enemy alone. "No, she's not alone." Ethan's fingers flew over the controls. If he couldn't fight beside her, he would do the next best thing. He activated the city's defense systems, sending swarms of drones toward the alien fleet. Lyra felt the shift. She smiled softly. "Thank you, Ethan." The drones weaved through the enemy ships, firing precise blasts. But the alien fleet was too large, too advanced. Lyra knew they wouldn't hold for long. Xyra's ship moved closer. "End this, Lyra. Give me the heart." Lyra's eyes shimmered with tears. "I can't." Xyra's face hardened. "Then you leave me no choice." The flagship charged its main cannon, aimed directly at Oceanine. Lyra's heart stopped. If that blast fired, the entire city would be obliterated. She looked down at the glowing orb in her hands, the second piece of the heart. She could feel its power, but also its toll. She whispered softly to herself, "If this is the price to pay, so be it." Ethan's voice crackled through the comms. "Lyra, no, there has to be another way." Tears streamed down Lyra's cheeks. "I'm sorry, Ethan. I wish we had more time." With a deep breath, Lyra fused her energy with the heart's power. Her body glowed brighter than ever, illuminating the dark ocean. She felt every heartbeat of every creature in the sea, every human in the city, and every memory she shared with Ethan. She whispered a final goodbye. The energy within her erupted in a blinding light, sending a shockwave through the ocean. The alien fleet was thrown backward, their systems fried by the sudden surge. The flagship's cannon shattered, and Xyra's image flickered before disappearing. Ethan's submarine was forced back by the wave, alarms blaring. When the light faded, Ethan's heart sank. Lyra was gone. The ocean was silent once more. The alien fleet, crippled and powerless, retreated. Oceanine was safe, but Ethan felt no victory. He returned to the city, greeted by cheers and relief, but his face remained blank. In his heart, There was only emptiness. Days passed. Ethan sat by the ocean's edge, staring into the endless blue. He replayed every moment with Lyra in his mind. Her curious eyes, her quiet strength, her selfless sacrifice. "I should have saved you," he whispered to the waves. Suddenly, his communicator beeped. He ignored it at first, but it beeped again insistently. Sighing, he answered. A familiar voice whispered through. "Ethan." His breath caught. "Lyra, I'm here." Her voice trembled. "But I'm not." The same. Ethan's eyes filled with hope. "Where are you?" "I'll find you." "I'm part of the heart now," she whispered. "But there's a chance. A small one." Ethan's heart pounded. "Tell me. Anything. I'll do whatever it takes." Lyra's voice softened. "Find the last piece. It can bring me back. But you'll have to face them again." Ethan's eyes burned with determination. "Then let them come." He stood up, the weight in his chest replaced by a burning fire. "I'm coming for you, Lyra. No matter what it takes." The ocean whispered back softly. "I know."